Great. Go.
Hello, my name is Annie Quinn. This is my mother, and this is her father, my grandfather. And we're just going to be talking about Vietnam. I'm going to pass the mic to my mother.
Yeah. My name is Stephanie Tan, and this is my father. Uh, he was a politician in Vietnam, and he in the Vietnam War, and army to time, and we here in the United States.
Okay. And now he can tell him about Vietnam.
Now we came to talking about the Vietnam War, okay? Because my father, he is a Vietnam War,
Okay.
and
So
he is one of the witnesses.
okay. So he'll talk about it. You translate it. Okay.
So, ông ngoại anh nhớ gì hồi nào có Việt Nam War?
Chiến tranh Việt Nam xảy ra thế nào?
Okay. So when did it start? When did Vietnam start? Do you remember? What year?
Chiến
Yeah.
tranh của Việt Nam xảy ra. He says that the Vietnam War beginning in the 1939, 1945.
And when Vietnam started, what made North and South Vietnam decide to go to war? For you?
Nó nói là hồi nào cái war bắt đầu á, cái chuyện gì là tại sao Bắc
Tại sao miền Bắc và miền Nam là chia đôi với nhau?
Nếu mà nó có cái vấn đề mà chưa đâu lấy cái dòng sông đến hỏi là nghĩa thì cái hệ tiêu chuẩn chủ yếu là cái hệ tiêu chuẩn đây á thì tự do mình đều sao
Yeah, because the North Vietnam and the South Vietnam separate because the different one in the north with the communist and in the South Vietnam with the republic.
And so, because of communists and democracy, the South was with democracy, I would assume, and the North with communism. So, what rank was your father when he went into the military or started being part of the war?
Tức là
How old was he?
hỏi ba là tại sao khi mà ba vô trong cái vùng cộng sản. Can you repeat again?
How old was he when the war started? How old was he when he started
Ông hỏi
to
là
be
tuổi
into?
hồi nào khi war bắt đầu.
Khi chiến tranh đó thì ba bao nhiêu tuổi?
ở Việt Nam có nhiều cuộc chiến tranh một cuộc chiến thì có người ta nói đó là cái cuộc chiến tranh thế giới thứ nhất 18, 14, 18 rồi tới chiến tranh chiến tranh thế giới từ ba cuộc chiến tranh phát triển và sinh ra cho đến khi ba sinh ra rồi vì gặp một cái cuộc chiến tranh khác tiếp theo đó thì nó cũng 30 tuổi, 20 tuổi rồi sau cái cuộc chiến tranh 20 tuổi đó anh nhà kia nó cũng cho đến khi mà sôi sục nó lên và lại lấy mà khoảng thì 5 tuổi thì khi đó tất cả mọi người ở Việt Nam thì có thể là cho nên
Okay, I'm upstairs. I needed to come in. Upstairs,
I believe that he said that there were multiple stages.
No, it's all to the left.
And
It's
leading up to the war,
you
he
should
was
see
14,
it to the
18,
left. Okay.
and But when the war finally
Give me this information.
progressed, I
It's
believe
the second story building. Okay.
that he was around
To the
30.
left, you'll see the opposite of the seafood restaurant. It's the second. Okay. All right. Come with me to the stairs. 212.
From the World War One and World War War, he was not born.
Okay. Go ahead.
Your grandpa,
Um,
So he was. How old was he?
Yeah, in the World War One and World War Two, he was not born. But when he intend in the World War in Vietnam,
Right.
Vietnam War, he just 20 to 25
25.
years old.
Okay. 25 years old
Yes,
and
right.
Vietnam started. So when he was 20, how old was he when he started? When Vietnam
He
started? When
was
he was how old?
20 to 25 years old.
20, 25 years old.
Yes, he intend
Okay.
attend in the Vietnam War.
Okay. So did he go into the war itself as military, as into the military, or was he part of the government of the
Yeah, I think that he is a politician.
politician?
And, in the military, he's an assistant. Normally, the organizer in the Vietnam at that time, one of the military and one of the is a look like yeah politic he control about the politics and his friend is Colonel Chung Pham control military with the marine military. Yeah.
Okay. And so what was his position as far as in the military? What was his job in dealing with the Vietnam War? What was his
Ba làm trách nhiệm gì ở trong cái war đó, trong cái thời kỳ đó.
ba là một viên chức hành chánh của chính phủ, và ba nhận cái chức vụ ở tại tỉnh từ chủ sự, trưởng ty, bí thư và chánh văn phòng. Nó tạo đại tá, tức là coi như là có một cái chức vụ cái cấp bậc giả định để mình thích được các mà lại để thể là những chung đó là bí thư của ông rồi là chánh lo cho việc là chánh được chính trị không lo cái việc ông này.
Okay, he said he had the highest position in the look like the chief of the administration of the province, and about the military is a high head. Is a Colonel Mr. Chung is a one side is a politics and one side is military.
okay?
And he keep with the highest position, and Colonel Chung highest position military.
Okay. Okay, come upstairs to the room. Okay. Upstairs in Mr. Can's office. Come on downstairs. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, in the room that you interviewed. Come on. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So what I want you to do, what's your daughter's name? I'm bad with name.
Annie?
Annie, I want you to tell me how you feel about your mother and your grandfather participating in the war. Yeah. How you see it from American standpoint? Because you're more American type of standpoint now. How do you see the Vietnam War?
Well, just to clarify, like my mother said, my grandfather was a politician during the Vietnam War. I know that he was jailed because of working with us in the U.S. And since I did not live during this time, it's very difficult for me to grasp the concept of war. My mom lived during this what because of that, I know my mom had to endure a life without her father there being there as much because he was thrown in jail. And I visited Vietnam, and there was I believe it's called the Independence Palace, and that's where like the old Southern government, Vietnamese government, like operated from. It's now like a historical relic.
Mhm.
But I visited there once, and I think it was either my dad or my mom that pointed out that, oh, your grandpa works here, used to work here, and I was like, really? I didn't know because like that that historical palace, it looked very like grand, and I just couldn't like picture it as because over here because my grandpa is just my grandpa.
Okay, so give it to Stephanie. And Stephanie, so what do you think of your father and his participation into the war efforts in Vietnam?
Yes, I want to explain about the jail that my daughter said. The jail is after 1975, the communist government put the military also the position in the jail with the name called is re-education. Yeah,
Re-education.
Yeah, re-education. And the peoples with the 3 years up, they will be called is a criminal with the Vietnam country.
Mhm.
Yeah, and my father was almost 7 years.
Oh.
Yes, and after that, when he released, he went to the United States with the HO program.
HO
Okay,
program.
HO program. Yeah, and if you ask me about my feeling about my father, okay, he is I can't explain. I'm so respect him
Hello.
because he's so
When they're in the room,
very
in
strong.
the same room you was
He's
before,
working
upstairs.
and
Yes,
educated, and he
TV.
love his
Okay.
family.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Keep
he
going.
teach to me many things in the life, also in the work. Okay, he teach to me about the moral. He teach to me how can to become the good person in the future, and he always said to my family, everybody need to become the good person and always remember the United States bring up us, and so we need to do something uh, for the United States
All right.
for better in the future.
Okay, so give it to your father, and let him talk in Vietnamese about how he got out of Vietnam and came here. Okay, if you feel comfortable.
Đó họ là nói chuyện about he, he, he helps us ông ngoại đi ra Việt Nam á. Tới đây á.
Và đi ra Việt Nam bằng cách nào?
Tôi có một
Yeah.
sau sau khi mà ở từ 10 năm 46
After being in jail for 10 to 14
10
years,
năm 46
10 years and 4 months.
Wow.
10 years and 4 months.
I am proud of you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
tiếp tục mà ở từ 10 năm 46 rồi thì sắp xếp về gia đình này cũng nhờ có anh vợ của người Mỹ nên về gia đình cái này mình
In
1996.
in 1996, after he was jailed, he was preparing to get his family over here,
HO program.
HO program. That's a program administered by the United States government in order to
Yeah.
bring over people who have been involved with the U.S. at that time.
Yeah,
HO.
program. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did he come to the did he come on a boat or how did he come in a ship or how a plane? How
I,
okay, I'm upstairs in room 212.
he came by plane.
Thanks. Okay. So how did he come?
Plane.
Plane. So was it a C-130? Do you remember what type of plane it was?
Ông ngoại nhớ cái bay nào.
Cái chuyến bay nào, số bay nào mà có bay?
Nói gì cuối lần nào tôi đi sao?
He doesn't remember, but he just remembers that it was at the end of the year on 1996.
1980. So what part of the United States did you actually arrive in?
Ông ngoại đi ở thành phố nào trong Mỹ? Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. And so how did you end up bringing your daughter and your? How did all that happen together? Did she come with you, or was it afterwards? How did y'all become back a family again?
So sau khi ông ngoại tới đây, hai mẹ của con hay chị em người cậu tới đây hay nào?
Mẹ con đến nó sao? Mẹ con đến sao? Còn những người kia thì họ dưới 21 tuổi trở đi trước.
Oh, my mom went a little later, and he said the people that are running under like 21 go first.
Okay.
Following the McCain program.
The Marcane program.
Yes.
So that was to reunite the family with the other relatives under that program. So it's two programs, right?
Yes.
So one was HQ. What was the first program?
Yeah, the HO program.
HO program.
Used for the children, okay, below 21 years old, and the second program following is come from the McCain. The 21 up will be go into the United States.
Okay.
With the condition they're not yet together married.
Well, I want to say I'm very proud of your father, and it is always a great pleasure in the United States to have other nationalities that is in the U.S. That makes up the United States as a whole. I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then I'll end it. I'm probably going to invite somebody else in and stuff too, so y'all bear with me, okay? So so when you got to the United States, your father, how was you met back together? How did you meet back together? Do you remember that?
Mẹ gặp lại với ông ngoại trong Mỹ.
Yeah, because at that time I am the business woman. I have a company in the Vietnam, so I get the visa easily.
Oh, okay.
Also, I working in the United Nations, so the U.S. consulate in Vietnam to issue the visa. So just only the 1 year after that, I met him in the United States, and we continue the document with the look like the OTP program. Yeah.
Hello. Just come upstairs in the room there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. 212. Okay. Yes, there's 212. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. Okay. Hold it for a second. Okay. So what I want you to do is, I want you to now tell the whole story in Vietnam, in Vietnamese, because we're gonna have Vietnamese listen to this too. Okay. This is gonna go out all over Orange County. Okay. So now I want you to tell the story, the total story in Vietnam that you just told me. But I'm gonna step out because I'm gonna invite somebody else who's in key to what we're talking about. Okay.
So mẹ kể chuyện hết cái này á trong tiếng Việt để có một tiếng Việt người Việt nghe á, sau nói chuyện trong tiếng Việt ông ngoại bắt đầu với Giống như nói khi Việt Nam War đó, hồi nào nó bắt đầu, ông ngoại ở đâu, sau khi đó ông ngoại làm gì, ông ngoại đi làm cái gì, ông cái mấy cái đồ đạc ông ngoại nhớ hồi trước á, nói không cái gì được.
Ba nói cái Việt thì có nhiều người Việt Nam ở trên cái livestream này mình nghe nó
bây giờ nó là
Việt Nam nói lắm.
thì cả thế giới cũng như năm loại cái chịu vào cuộc chiến tranh là 1918 là chiến tranh thứ nhất, cái năm 1945 là cuộc chiến tranh thứ hai. Cuộc chiến tranh thứ hai ảnh hưởng nhiều nhất đến Việt Nam là vì lúc đó cộng sản ở trong nước nổi lên, và nhất là ở làng Trung Quốc. Vì thế cho nên những người mà lãnh đạo đất nước Việt Nam đó, hầu hết là học ở bên Trung Quốc, và chủ yếu là Chủ tịch Hồ Chí Minh. Rồi giờ đây mà tổ chức chiến tranh thì sao? Từ cuộc chiến tranh nó rất là đến năm tư thì chia ra đất nước. Thì năm tư đó, là cái lúc đó tôi còn đi học. Tôi đi học cho nên tôi không có để ý về chiến tranh. Tôi đến mãi cho đến năm 80 thì tôi bắt đầu qua trường, bắt đầu sách ra tiếp tục vào cái cuộc chiến tranh. Mà thấy cái là ai cũng tham gia hết. Thì tham gia vào cuộc chiến tranh nó kéo dài như vậy đến sau năm 1975 thì tôi vào làm việc ở một cái tỉnh, và thường là phụ tá cho các ông tỉnh trưởng. Mà tỉnh trưởng lúc bây giờ đó chỉ là chuyên luôn chỉ khu trưởng, tức là về hành tránh và công tác. Thì tôi chỉ biết việc về chính trị và hành tránh, còn các ông trường trường ở trong trung đoàn trưởng lo đánh được. Tôi làm việc ở đó khoảng 18 năm, 18 năm rồi. Thì mãi cho đến năm 1975 thì cộng sản tấn công thì tôi vào phải đi tù, đi cho 10 năm đến khởi tù.
Ông ngoại mấy tuổi nào vô tù?
31 tuổi rồi, không đi nhớ là cái năm. Từ sau tới 15 rất có sau này đi về. Bây giờ là thì cái chương trình phải mất tên rồi đi. Và bây giờ khi học gia đình thì những đứa trẻ mà nhỏ thì đi trước, những đứa trẻ con của mình lớn tuổi trên 21 tuổi thì đi sao? Thì từ 4 mình đi. Thì nói chung là về chiến tranh mà nó thì mình có thể kể được hết những cái sự tích chất nó ban hội xã hội giải đất mãi cho đến bây giờ. Cái điều đó là mình không có thể kể hết. Nhưng mà đó là chúng tôi cái nghiệp của dân tộc sẽ trả thôi, nhưng mình không có gì được hết. Đấy, mình không được cái là như vậy. Thì khi mình đi như vậy thì nó có một cái hiện vật về chiến tranh, và tôi cũng thu xếp tất cả, bỏ lại tất cả để mà đem cái hiện vật đi ra. Thì rất là có đặc biệt, mình nó ra đặt một căn phải nó làm đi do thủ tướng chiến để từ bán vào một cái làng ở Việt Nam mà lấy ra cái hiện vật nó đi làm. Để cho sau này những người mà xém với tôi họ hiểu được, riêng có được cái dấu ấn của cái căn chuyện đó, chứ không có sự cần có cái chiến tranh chắc chắc để ban họ bảo vệ cho chúng ta là những công
come on in. Yes, come on. I want everybody to come in. Come on in. Come on in. All right, come in. Come in. Come in. Okay, so let's see now. I have a seat there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to explain what's going on. We're live here in stream to 161 countries. We're talking about the Vietnam War, and he is a survivor of the Vietnam War. That's his granddaughter, and she is in Vietnam. Has an orphanage in Vietnam to take care of how many kids?
345.
245 kids now. Okay, so we're going to continue to talk about the Vietnam War. You're going to say something about the Marine Corps. You're going to say about what y'all are doing and stuff, and you're going to talk more about the kids. Okay, so in Vietnamese, you have the word. Okay, and you can translate. And she says she's not really good at translating
I'll
Vietnamese.
try.
You try. Okay.
Không
So
biết tiếng Anh á.
okay, give me 1 second.
Giống như phải nói chị cô nói cái gì trước thì chị biết nói.
Come back in for a few minutes. She's gonna be back. So come back. Okay. Can you get your father to come? Your father come? So, okay.
She just needs some questions.
Some questions. Okay. So anyway, you can start. Sit over there. Okay. All right. Okay. So go ahead and introduce yourself again. Now, in Vietnamese. Go ahead. Vietnamese. Yeah. Vietnamese.
And my work.
Yes. Yes. And all in Vietnamese. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Em tên là Huỳnh Vĩ Hương. Hiện tại đang nuôi 345 trẻ cô nhi tại Việt Nam, tỉnh Bình Dương, huyện Di An, tỉnh Bình Dương. Tất cả những trẻ mà tụi tôi nhập về thì toàn bộ là những trẻ vừa lọt lòng bỏ trong các nhà rác và các khu công nghiệp. Cái nhà cấp tế về thì đa số là những trẻ chưa có vốn và bị tụt ăn phải lắm. Cái đó là tụi tôi thì không nói những trẻ bị chết cho nên tụi tôi đã đón nhận về chính bản thân tụi tôi cũng là hoàn cảnh mà chúng tôi cho nên tụi tôi được.
Okay. So you have children now in Vietnam as an orphanage, correct? You have kids in Vietnam that is in orphanage right now, correct? Okay. And how many are there? 245 kids. And most of them are probably from the era of the Vietnam era that was left behind, correct?
Why I love the kid, why I take care of the kid. I am orphan too. I am orphan and I'm 22 years and staying home with and my family was one man as one person, I want the person. Love. Go buy some cigarettes and syndrome. Yeah, I buy to people. You see me every day because I stay in home late. I take care of one of the people. Yeah, I don't no sir, no food. I take care of one of the people often. Live with me. Many people think maybe I am baby. Because no, I see the children outside. I scared children dying. Yeah, I don't want children dying because I don't know where I get food and where get the children. Because I don't want children die. I don't care. I believe God loves me. Yes, God loves me, loves children. Yeah, every night as I live with the children, live in my husband. My son is alive, live in the night. If you say, why you no husband, you no her, you no family, you no food, why you take care one of the kid? What you do? Where you get food, you take care of the children. I say, I don't care. No food, I don't die. No how, I don't die. Because I love. I love. Okay, good. I don't think I have a lot of money, I can take care of people. No money, you can take care. You no money, you can come here. If maybe you a lot of money, maybe you don't come here. You know. One person give me one my extra year with the road, no, 20 go, I don't know, maybe dollar, 4000 dollar. Yeah, I buy sell the house, and the car. Today I buy two, tomorrow I sell five. Because I don't spend get a lot of money because I love five. You don't buy, I don't sell. You money in my house. You don't buy money in your bag. How in my hand. I don't give you the key. You love my house, okay, I sell for you. You don't love, you no money, you don't tell me. You don't told me that how money. Because I want to sell five. Where I get a lot of money, I take care of key. And buy today, buy tomorrow, sell. Today, buy tomorrow, sell. And restaurant, many restaurant, and maybe you open 100, no person people come. You share. I buy four. You open 100, before I buy only two. I buy two. Tomorrow I sell 100.
Wow. Okay, come on, step back in for a little bit, and then we'll be done. Okay. So I want you to introduce yourself. So everybody, kind of go ahead and introduce yourself to the camera again. So yeah, and be comfortable. Yes, this is good. Okay, just relax and be comfortable.
I'm Annie. My mother, I can find her, but I'm pretty sure she'll be here soon. And I speak I can translate Vietnamese decently.
Oh.
I am a high school senior, and I'm just here to translate mostly.
All right. And so everybody, just go ahead and introduce yourself. So yeah, go ahead.
I
Your
am
turn.
Florence Johnson. I am the wife to Pastor Johnson. And we met this wonderful young man in Easter Ellis, just to just tell a little bit about what we have going on. So I'm gonna let him do tell him what it is that he thinks.
Okay. So with that said, go ahead.
My name is Gerald Johnson.
Okay.
I am pastor of Greater Harvest Church of God in Christ here in Long Beach, in California. And
Tell me what y'all doing. What is your and using the Marine Corps, right?
oh yes,
Okay.
oh, United States Marine Corps. We'll talk a little bit about that. Well, back in 1775 in Tom's Tavern, the First Continental Congress of the United States of America established an amendment, and that amendment was the United States Marine Corps.
That is true.
And the first organization to operate on the land, in the air, and on the sea. We're known as the President's Army. We are the first. Every other organization, service, Air Force, Navy, Army, takes an act of Congress for them to move. But we're the President's own. There's a red phone on the Commander-in-Chief's desk, and the Commandant of the Marine Corps has a red phone. So whenever the Marine Corps is needed, the red phone is picked up by the Commandant, and we go wherever we're designated to go.
That is good. And how do we played a major part. When I say I am a former Marine, United States Marine Corps, I was a sergeant in the United States Marine. How did the Marines play a part in Vietnam?
Well, the Marine Corps in the Vietnam era, a lot of the other services, they were not trained in hand-to-hand and guerrilla warfare. Vietnam was a on-hands war. The enemy was entrenched in the ground, tunnels everywhere, and so to whenever we thought we had conquered or won in a particular area, the tunnels went everywhere. So we had to continue to move here and there. There were several battles that were waged in Vietnam, and it was the Marine Corps that did that. The Marine Corps had to kind of settle things down, flesh out, and once that was done, then the Navy and the Army and the Air Force could come in and do their job. But we basically come in and secure the area.
But speaking of the Navy, in the corner there, her grandfather, there's a pot there. That is actually a bomb. That is a shell that was sent into Vietnam in 1960, I think, from a U.S. Navy ship. And her father, your grandfather, that was the only thing he brought from Vietnam, and he gave it to me today in honor of the veterans who served in Vietnam. Her father, very honorable man. He a little shy. He left out, but he gave that to me today, and I think that's a very noble thing. And so I'm just trying to bring everybody. This is being transmitted. It's going to be recorded too. Okay, it is being recorded actually. It's a unique day to have African Americans, Vietnamese, and I mean she was with North and South. Now y'all are here together. You don't even really. She doesn't even remember because she was so young about the Vietnam War. But it's a beautiful day to have y'all all here in the same room, and to be able to transmit worldwide and hopefully raise money for your orphanage in Vietnam. Okay. So, what are the ages of the kids that you have in Vietnam now?
Hỏi anh Kim mấy nhất có bao nhiêu tuổi? Đa số dưới 12 tuổi.
No, she says
Đa số dưới 14 tuổi.
they're normally under 14.
They're normally under 14. And how does she end up getting so many Vietnamese kids?
She có nhiều đứa.
340.
Mà how sẽ là đứa nó vô đó tại sao?
Những đứa trẻ thì bỏ trong các thùng rác.
She said there are cases of like kids being like put in like trash cans and stuff, and the orphanage just like.
How long has she had an orphanage?
Bao lâu có
Giống như những đứa trẻ đó là người ta đẻ ra, ta bỏ trong các thùng rác, trong các nhà vệ sinh công cộng. Đó thì những người ta đi lượm với cha người ta thấy người đó.
mà bao lâu có
Cái gì có chứng nhận của nhà nước đó là được 17 năm, mà cô làm 30 năm.
She said 17 years.
17 năm là có lấy chứng nhận của chính phủ. Còn mà cô nuôi trẻ là 30 năm.
30 năm cho
nuôi trẻ từ 30 năm.
Oh, so wasn't she saying that she's taking care of them until lockdown?
35 năm.
For 35 years.
35 years. That is so sweet that you're trying to understand Vietnamese
I'm
as
so
you're talking.
sorry.
No, you're doing
There's
good.
like some words I just don't understand.
See, you're lucky because us as African Americans, we have lost our African roots and dialect. So you're still lucky to be able to talk to your grandparents at least a little bit. We can't at this point can't do that. So getting caught up in the American melting pot. So what do you think of her? What do you think of her having an orphanage in Vietnam now?
I think that's pretty cool. Like, I've heard a lot of stories because my mom tells me. She says that sometimes in Vietnam, it's like healthcare is not always the best. So it's like sometimes you can't just take care of a kid on your own. I was lucky. My mom, I was really lucky because even with my grandfather gone, my mom was able to step up and take care of all her siblings. and so forth. But I know there are others more less fortunate, as because I've heard stories of like kids being born with disabilities, and unfortunately, it's like looked down upon in our culture. So I'm glad that there are other places where kids could be accepted.
Well, I think it's a great day for you. She's Vietnam, so she's like I say, she's been there and stuff all the way to you growing up, and to have your father see her and stuff, to see Vietnam, kind of, because I think that they was probably on opposite sides. I'm assuming and stuff, and to have y'all here in the room together is amazing, and stuff. And as I was saying to some people earlier today, the government free Vietnam here, that the past 1975 is gone. Now it's time to unite and start moving forward to help kids, this like her orphanage and everything. And they are listening, and so which is great. So, can she tell us a little bit more of what made her start an orphanage? What got her?
Bắt đầu cô bạn thân của cô là trẻ mồ côi, bạn thân của cô là trẻ mồ côi, trẻ mồ côi á, trẻ mồ côi á. Thì cô đang nuôi trẻ mồ côi mà, và bạn thân của cô là trẻ mồ côi lớn lên.
Explain
Bạn thân đó, chính cô là trẻ mồ côi. Trẻ mồ côi là orphan.
Oh.
She was an orphan.
Oh.
Orphan thì nó mất xinh mất
Cute.
không phải là mồ côi.
Yeah, she was an orphan. So,
Okay.
that started something.
Okay.
Cho nên cô hiểu được những đứa trẻ mồ côi.
Yeah, she understands those type of things.
So what does she wants to do now with her orphanage? How does she see the kids and moving forward? Does she wants them to come to America, other countries as they get older? Because she has, how many do she has in there?
Mai bao nhiêu đứa?
345.
345.
345. So she wants to see those kids come to America, or what she wants to?
Cô muốn thấy mấy cái đứa đó đi Mỹ hay không?
Nguyện vọng của cô là muốn các con được đồng thuận.
Yeah, she said she would like to see them. Hay cô lo cho mấy cái đứa này sao đi các kiểu
Cô vẫn nuôi những đứa con của cô thôi.
she says like when she takes care of them, she just raises them up.
Wow, that's so
Does she
sweet.
have any help?
Cô có ai giúp không?
Cũng có những người vãng lai giống như một ai đó. Cô không có được cái nguồn tài trợ thường xuyên, nhưng mà cô có những người thân yêu thương cô đã đến. Cô không có nguồn tài trợ thường xuyên.
That's cute. No, that's good. You're making her have to learn.
Có nghĩa là không có một cái tổ chức nào tài trợ cho cô gọi là thường xuyên hàng tháng.
Maybe sponsor?
Sponsor.
Yeah. Không có hay có?
Không có thường xuyên.
She said she doesn't have a sponsor.
Chỉ có ví dụ như ai họ thương thì họ đến thôi.
Oh, like volunteer. And like she has volunteers help her.
That's so cool. So I want to let you turn back the mic over here. Okay.
All right.
So we want your wife to talk now. She keeps passing the mic there and stuff. But this is so
Like
cute.
my grandfather. I am very shy. Just
No, you need to talk.
like the grandfather. Can I just go out the room?
No.
She's really happy.
No, tell us a little bit about the church and everything you started with your husband and everything too. Go ahead.
Well, I can talk about Taking Back My Life Empowerment Center.
All right, great.
Basically, how that got started is I grew up with a life of abuse, just being as a child, being abused as a child, and into my adulthood. So any kind of abuse that a woman maybe can imagine or have been through, I've gone through it. So I just want to help women and young girls that are in abusive situations or have been abused or anything of that nature to just kind of take back their lives. So because when a woman loses hope, it's hard for her to be rebuilt up again. But there is hope even after the abuse, whether it's physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse. Abuse is abuse is abuse is abuse. So, and it takes a toll on a woman. So we just wanted to be able to give back where they can find their way. Some of them don't have like jobs or uneducated or things of that nature, so they can still make it even though, no matter how they grew up or what they've gone through, they still can make it. There is still hope out there for them.
So when did you start really looking at the abusive of kids and women and everything, and how long you've been doing it?
Since 2005.
2005.
2005. Yes.
And now you have a church in Long Beach.
Yes,
Right.
I just work alongside him, but we're just now we're in the building stages of the church now. The church is over 60 years old. It was an older congregation. The church is the people have kind of gone astray, just fallen away of people of the church. So now just trying to rebuild and be there for the community, be a beacon light for the community. Because without love, you can't do anything. Like she said, you have to have love. In order for anything to work, love has to be it has to be the core of anything that we do. Love has to be the core.
Great. So you was in San Diego, though. How did you San Diego to this here?
We have the first jurisdiction of Southern California. Our jurisdiction affiliate is Bishop Joe Louis Ely. Our emeritus is Bishop Charles Edward Blake. And there was a point where we were 213 churches. We're 203 churches now. And we are from San Diego to San Luis Obispo to Santa Clara to El Centro to Rialto, San Bernardino. So we are everywhere, and that's just one jurisdiction. We're the largest jurisdiction in the Church of God in Christ. And so Bishop George Dallas McKinney is a jurisdiction of prelate also, and he is in San Diego. But even though I was in San Diego, I was yet in the first jurisdiction because sometimes the geographical divides, they cross over based on, it happened before I got there. So even though in San Diego County, yet in first jurisdiction with Bishop George Dallas McKinney in his area, but being a part of first jurisdiction. So there, we were a chaplain in California Corrections and Rehabilitation, and also chaplain Camp Pendleton Bay Sprig. We were part of the chaplain of Oceanside Police Department, the District Attorney's Office. Basically, after retiring from the Marine Corps, I immersed myself into community affairs, wherever I saw that something was being neglected or there was something that I felt that I could do to make a change, I did that. So San Diego County, the transition was this church needed help, and I started going to the church, and as things happened, the church and I fell in love with each other, and so we started working. The church it was a wonderful church, wonderful heritage, the Greater Harvest Church of God in Christ, built on Genesis 8:22. From now unto the earth remains will be seed, time, and harvest. And so we're trying to now continue to build on what was given to us, and we're building for the future, i.e. the community which surrounds us. The community which surrounds us, the Cambodian, the Filipino community, the Asian community, they are our 5-mile radius. And so we are endeavoring to let them know that we are there and we want to help in any way we can. And so it's going to take, it's another adventure. We're excited about it. And I thank God for my wife. She brings the needed soft touch. And as it relates to abuses in all times, she's just awesome.
Great. So, what do you think about this reunion? First of all, a younger Vietnamese girl who has not understand the war, and having a lady who is on the other side is now raising kids, trying to take kids in today, and compared to you being there in Long Beach, seeing all the different Asian, different nationalities. So I guess the question I'm asking you and stuff is, how do you see this? This is
Well, to look at them, I'm looking at I'm looking at the past, I'm looking at the present, and then I'm looking at the future, because the orphanage, how the orphanage is helping the children. Then she's allowing her past to mandate future for the children that she's serving. And then, like you mentioned, for this awesome young lady to be able to communicate in her native tongue and
That's amazing.
translate and work through it, it shows the strength of a people. It shows community. It shows that there is hope for everyone. And the way that the transition from Vietnam or the Maoris to come here and still be able to hold on to tradition and hold on to who they are, it's amazing. It's remarkable, and it gives hope. It gives hope, and I champion her for her bravery and courage, to be here.
If you didn't, I'm sure everyone know that North Vietnam and South Vietnam was divided. U.S. was on the south, and the communists was China and Russia. And in the end, it divided a nation,
Yes.
and that nation is trying to reheal itself now.
Yeah.
And so, for y'all to be in the same room together, to be able to communicate is amazing. And I think, from my standpoint, I'm an African American. I see racism to the point that people are killed in Alabama when I was growing up. And Martin Luther King stayed at my house, as you know, the Blaze 7 March. The vision of a people is very easy to manipulate. Trying to pull together as human race is one we all should endure to try to make happen. And the past becomes the past. The present is the present, the future has yet to be seen. So it's amazing just to see y'all two in the room together. It gives me hope for humanity as it stands for today. So anyway, this was an impromptu, basically live streaming recorded video. It will be seen in 161 countries. So I do have y'all permission in this room to basically continue to move this forward. It could do a lot for other people. Anyway, with that said, if anyone else want to say anything before we close out, can you tell me how to contact your orphanage and what's your, if you want to give out some information, can you translate her?
Đưa ra information của orphanage của cô á, thì số cho mấy người raise money cho orphanage của cô á. Em có website.
Can you give her a website? Go ahead.
Website là Huỳnh Tỷ Vương. Huỳnh Tỷ Vương. Chẳng có gì. Cái Huỳnh Tỷ Vương, Huỳnh tên của cô là Huỳnh Tỷ Vương. She said when it's okay if she like posts it on the side.
Yes, but
It's her name.
Okay. All right. And
For you.
all right. With that said, I want y'all to say your name again, and how to contact you if you're okay with that. Okay. So let's just start. Go ahead.
So nó tên á,
Send it.
nó contact info á, rồi nó contact cô.
Mọi sự là cái số điện thoại của em về Việt Nam cô người Việt Nam á, nhưng mà bị công tác lấy cái số điện thoại của ông để liên lạc được.
Okay, she said because like the phone number isn't like standard in Vietnam, she'd like to can contact her.
She has an email.
Oh, what email?
Email cái Huỳnh Tiểu Hương Mai nè.
Yeah. It's her name.
Her name
Huỳnh
and
Tiểu Hương.
what's the last part of it? Is Yahoo or
Dạ,
Gmail?
đó. Dạ.
Yahoo. Okay, great. Okay, go ahead and
Annie Quinn, you can just contact me through you or my grandfather.
okay.
Belinda Johnson. You can contact me at 704 area code 779-5059 or BELINDACOLBERT @yahoo.com.
And you can contact me, Dr. Gerald Johnson, at 760-887-0399. Email address, chaplain, CHAPLAIN .Johnson, JOHNSON, @gmail.com.
Okay, with that said, we're going to end this, and I appreciate the impromptu solution and situation I put y'all in, and hopefully it'll change a lot of people's lives. And again, I think God blesses everyone to bring about such a unique meeting, and it will touch a lot of lives around the world. Amen.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.